Hey everyone! Today we're playing Pokemon, but why play one game when you can play 3 at the same time? That's right, we're playing 3 different Pokemon Fire Red games using the same inputs for all 3 games. And that's not all though. Each game is going to start off with a different starter, and hopefully we'll be able to finish all of them around the same time. This is going to get so confusing, but it should be fun. Also, this video was inspired by Rylockes, and their info is down in the description, so check them out. There's one more thing to add though. I'm actually playing a secret 4th game that I can't see at all, but it's still getting the same inputs as all the other 3. So go ahead and make a prediction down in the comments about how far that game will get. For now though, let the chaos begin. So as you can see, I've got 3 games here, and each one is using the same inputs. There's also a slight delay between each of them. Hopefully that doesn't mess us up too much. First things first though, we need to get out of our house and grab our starter. Now all 3 of these I'm just going to go ahead and name Bob. We've got Charmander in red, Squirtle in blue, and Bulbasaur in green. Now let's go ahead and face our rival. Well, that's not going to work out too well. Wasn't expecting them all to be Charmanders. Guess Bulbasaur Bob wasn't really cut out for this fight. Oh well. Now you're probably wondering what's going to be so different if they're using the same inputs for all 3 games. Well, Pokemon has a bunch of random events already in it. So if I walk through the grass here, we get encounters at different times, and each one will be different. That, along with our starters, are going to make things pretty difficult to keep track of between each game. At least we can try to catch similar Pokemon, right? Yeah, like that'll happen. We did manage to catch a Pidgey in all 3 games, though, but our second catch turned out to be a Rattata in red and green and a Spearow for blue. These will be great for teaching required HMs too. Now, after managing to find our way through Viridian Forest, it was time to face our first gym leader, Brock. Here, you'll see another interesting part of this challenge, which was managing movesets. I had to ensure that each Pokemon used the best move for the situation. Sometimes that meant using a weaker move in one game, so another could do what it needed to. Here, for example, we managed to defeat Brock pretty easily in the green and blue games, but red needed a second try before we could actually continue onward. After defeating Brock, though, and taking our first badge, we went through Mount Moon and grabbed another Pokemon for each game. Then it was time for the second gym fight with oh no, not another rival fight. Well, that turned out to be just as expected. Green goes down yet again, but the other 2 progressed. Luckily, it only took one more attempt with Green to continue onward there too. Now it was time for Misty. This water gym turned out to be, unsurprisingly, a breeze for Green and wasn't too bad for Blue either. Red again needed another attempt, but before trying that, I went ahead and snagged an extra help for both Red and Blue for later in the form of an Oddish. This allowed Red the extra push it needed to complete the second badge and allow the group to move on. Next, it was time for yet another rival fight. This one actually was pretty easy, and all 3 games moved on to grab the HM for cut and sail right into Lieutenant Surge's gym. To make things easier, we started off with the grass types that each game had, and then switched to the others as needed to round out the fight, snagging us another victory. From here, we made it through Rock Tunnel with a whole bunch of repels, and headed over to Celadon City. There we snagged a free Eevee and, using the local mall, evolved it into a Vaporeon in our red and green games and a Flareon in our blue game. I had no idea how useful those would be later on, especially the Vaporeons. After that, it was time to take on Erica, the 4th gym leader. Here is where Red had a chance to shine, as all the Pokemon here were especially weak to my Charizard. Unfortunately, though, I had to level up some of my other games a bit before attempting the gym fight. With a leveled up Pidgeotto and Fearow, we managed to squeeze out another victory without any losses. I was feeling good here, so I decided to take on both the Rocket Hideout and Silphco with my fully evolved starter, Blastoise, in the blue game and the 2 Vaporeons in the other games. We managed to defeat Team Rocket and our rival for good measure, and Also grabbed a free Lapras in all 3 games. From here, it was time to head down to Koga, the Poison Gym Leader. Both of our starters in red and blue had no trouble taking on this fight. But once more, green was struggling to keep up. We did sneak in a win for all 3 though, again without a loss. The next fight was going to be a bit tougher though. Sabrina, the Psychic Gym Leader, was definitely going to be trouble. Or so I thought. See, both Vaporeons and our Blastoise knew the move Bite by this point. This turned out to be a crucial moveset for the fight and allowed us to easily gain victory in the red and green games. Blue took a bit longer though, and after trying to PP stall Sabrina's Alakazam, Blastoise got hit with a high roll Psychic and went down. I did manage to have a few revives though, and barely made it through after sacrificing the rest of my team to do it. Next was Blaine and Giovanni, the 7th and 8th gym leaders. Again, I used Vaporeons and Blastoise to easily defeat their teams of fire and ground types pretty quickly. After teaching our starters Earthquake, it was time for one more stop before heading to the Elite Four. See, we had this nice little Master Ball to use, and a decent legendary to catch. I headed to the power plant where we caught a level 50 Zapdos. After upgrading its moveset, it was now time to head off to the Elite Four. Victory Road went pretty quickly, after again using a whole bunch of repels. I did decide to level up a little bit though, before jumping headfirst into the finals. Well, time to face off against the Elite Four, and the champion. First is Lorelei, and a whole bunch of ice water Pokemon. Zapdos made pretty quick work of them all though, with the electric moveset I had available. Next was Bruno, the fighting rock combo. This guy is usually a pushover, and it pretty much lived up to that expectation. Zapdos and each of our starters made quick work of him. The third member is Agatha with her ghost Pokemon. I thought it was best to handle this just by spamming Bite, and it worked out pretty decent. But I did start to get low on the supplies by the final 2 fights, and I was starting to worry a bit. Now we were off to Lance, the Dragon Master. This fight was no joke. Dragon is just a hard type to beat in this version of the game. With a Gyarados, an Aerodactyl, 2 Dragonair, and a Dragonite, I was really struggling here to stay alive. Here's when I tried a new tactic though. I decided it was better to focus on 1 or 2 games at a time rather than all 3. I kept stalling as much as I could in Red, who was surprisingly struggling the most, and used my inputs to ensure Blue won, then Green. Although things were not in great condition there, I was managing to stay alive. There were only 2 more Pokemon to fight against in Red, an Aerodactyl and a Dragonair. I thought I could stall out Aerodactyl with my Vaporeon, but a critical hit told me otherwise. Red was out for the count this round. While Red stayed in the Poké Center, Blue and Green continued to face the champion. It was time for the final rival fight. Unfortunately, this fight started to take on its toll too. Again, I decided to focus on the game that was the farthest. And once again, it was actually the underdog. After a few good turns there, Green became the first of the 3 to finish and become champion. I was pretty sure that I could stall out and make sure that Blue could finish too, but I ran out of revives and got a crit by our rival's Gyarados. It was back to the beginning of the Elite Four for both Blue and Red. Luckily, another time through, we managed to squeeze in a victory for both of them, rounding off the game. It only took 14 hours of gameplay? Well, that's how this goes. Man, I thought it was rough with just 3 games. I don't know how Rylock does it with 12. Anyway, we do need to see how our blind 4th game ended up though. This one was supposed to start off with a Pikachu, and looks like we got it, but it's only a level 14, and it looks like it never left the starting area. I don't even have the Pokedex. So if you guess that it would only be fighting Rattata and Pidgey in the first route, you win? But that's it for now. If you've enjoyed, feel free to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more crazy random content like this. If you've enjoyed this video, chances are that you'll like my last Pokemon challenge right here, or check out some of my other challenges in this playlist here. Until next time though, Have an awesome day, and we'll see you later. Ciao.